All right, I think we are live. I'm a little bit early here because I am having technical difficulties and hoping that someone might be able to help me out. I can't figure out how to share my screen. Give me just a second here. Let's see, I've got to get my phone so it doesn't shut off so I can see the comments you guys are making in the text box. Okay, that should be better. And then pull that up. All right. So now I have access to the chat. So if anyone is here, like I said, we're a little bit early. Let me see. Let me turn down the volume here. All right, welcome, welcome. If you're joining, hopefully you can see me. I still feel like I'm having some technical difficulties here. Hold on, I'm gonna go back to OBS and I'm gonna bring up, let's see, this and just make it a little larger. Hopefully that helps. Oh, it's so funny. I'm like watching myself delayed here. And the sad thing is, I'm going to be posting this on my YouTube channel. Maybe I can edit this first part out if I can figure out how so people don't have to join the struggle with me as I try to figure out how to share my screen with you guys. If not, we might just have to do this with me talking to you. So it says we've got a few people coming in here, joining. If you're here, will you just type hello? I don't know if you see the chat box, but if you could just let me, oh wait, here. Hi, great to see you. I've been looking forward to this. Florida. Oh, yay, at least I'm seeing you guys. I'm seeing your chats. I can see and hear you. Perfect. UK, welcome. You see me good. Okay, here's the sad thing though. I am so happy. At least you guys can see me and hear me, it sounds like. But there's no way, because when I do this, when I try to make my video bigger, smaller, so I can share my screen with you because I had some cool slides and presentations, I can't get this software I'm using called OBS. I can't figure out why it's not letting me share. Like you see how it's just black back there? Like I'm not sure. The one-click cart on Etsy. I don't know about that one. Today we're going to be talking all things product photography, and I'm going to wait. We just got like 3 more minutes here. People are going to be coming in. So again, we might just have to do this presentation where I talk all things photo with you guys. I will still be able to go through the slides and talk about everything, and again, share my experience with product photography on Etsy and how we can really get those shops going for the holiday. But I am still kind of sad. I have a bit of an echo. Ooh, that's not good. I wonder why. I'm trying to just make sure my phone's completely muted. Oh, I hope it's not like a bad microphone. Is anyone else hearing a bad echo? And again, there's like a delay, so when I'm talking to you guys and those comments and stuff are coming in, we might be a little off there. But thanks as always for your patience. The good news is with these Etsy U kind of like trainings and things that Etsy is putting on, they just announced that they're going to be trying to format the program so this tech part isn't going to be so difficult doing it on the YouTube live. I think there's almost going to be like a separate platform where the video and screen sharing and chat will all kind of be in one place, which will be super nice. I'm going to minimize this and I can look at the chat a little easier. Add an element in OBS and highlight the area you want to share. Yes, I know. I did the same thing last time and I just could not figure it out. Technology hates me. So it's like I have my display capture thing here, but I don't know why it's not letting me like highlight what I want to share. We might, no properties available. Oh, yeah, we might just have to do it without screen sharing today, which is okay. Not a bad echo. I hear you in an echo, but it's okay. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to fix that either. If I go to my audio input, hello, test. I don't even, MacBook. I'm just using the microphone on my computer, so since I've used OBS, something you select at the bottom. Yeah, I'm trying. I see the display capture and it just says device not connected or not available. And I listened to all the tutorials and everything. You have 2 monitors, you can just capture, if you have 2 monitors, you can just capture the whole display. Yeah, unfortunately, I do not, otherwise that would be great. And it's also echoey. I'm so sorry, guys. but it's not horrible. I'm glad it's not killing the vibe here. All right, we got about 1 more minute, and thank you again for everyone trying to help me figure out the tech. If not, I'll just go ahead, I'll pull up my slideshow and I'll be going through and still talking about all of those points. But unfortunately, I won't be able to pull up Etsy because I wanted to show you really good examples of product photography. But hopefully, I really hope you can still walk away with some really helpful, useful, applicable information to your shops. Window capture, yeah, I don't know, let's see. File, I don't see a window capture. I'm so frustrated. Display capture is what it's called. Yes, you are correct. And it's so frustrating because I'm looking in OBS and I see the sources and I see the display capture and it has a little like eyeball here and a little lock thing. But when I click the eyeball, it looks displayed. It just says device not connected and not available. So frustrating. Window capture can display the window. So Chrome or where she has the slides. Window capture. Okay, I'm using a MacBook and I was going to show my slides in Canva. Where would I find the window capture? I promise, guys, we're just going to do this for 1 more minute and then we'll just move on and get to the really good stuff of product photography and how to do it and why it drives us all so crazy selling on Etsy, but also why it's so important. All right. Yeah, with the window, I'm not sure. I'm looking up here to see if I can see like a window capture. I'm in OBS, services. Yeah, I see the sources. I see display capture. It's truly not that bad. Echo might be from feedback through 2 sources or advanced sound setting that is sending it to the monitor. Gosh darn it. Well, I understand if that echo gets too bad, like I said, maybe I'll just do a second YouTube video where I kind of go through this and pull up the slides and everything like that. Someone's opening up their OBS to see. Thank you. I know you're going to be like, it should be working. It says right there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just move on because it is 12 o'clock, so the time that we are supposed to start and do this training. All right, and I have no idea about that echo. I'm not sure where or why that is doing that. Let me just double check my phone 1 more time to see. Well, since I'm not sharing my screen, maybe I'll even try to log out and just do the chat from my phone. I don't know if that worked. I was pulling up the chat on my phone. Maybe that was causing the echo. All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. I will minimize this. Whoop, let me hold on. I just want to make sure I'm big. I'm going to go ahead and make myself big again since I can't figure out how to do the screen share. So you guys can see me while I'm talking to you. All right, and then I'm going to minimize that. And we're not getting an echo. Okay, hopefully when I turned off my phone, that fix the echo thing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. I am pretty sure you can still see me down here. I'm just going to make sure 1 more time. Is everyone still seeing me even when I log out of this screen? Let's see, we're not getting an echo. I'll give you a second to catch up in the chat just to make sure. Can everyone still, just let me know in the chat if you could still see me, like to make sure I didn't disappear when I went over to my slideshow. I'm still just waiting for someone to confirm. Yes, okay, I'm moving on. Thank you. All right, I'm going to my slideshow. Here we go. I don't even need to share it because no one can see it. I'll just look at it. Welcome. My name is Cat Hutchings. So for those of you that are new, that you didn't come to my last training, I have been selling on Etsy for 12 years, which is crazy. I run 2 Etsy shops. I run a jewelry supply shop and a jewelry supply shop. I've done over 100,000 sales on the platform. I have 5 employees now that kind of help me with the business. And this is my first year partnering with the Etsy U program. So the reason I tell you all of that is, first of all, I think it's an important reminder. Like I promised 12 years ago, the idea that I would actually make this into a full-time job and income was not even on my radar. I was literally just making some earrings for fun, hoping to sell them, making some extra money. and it didn't go even beyond that. Now, again, the even concept of hiring employees, it just was kind of like a slow build. So I'm still running both those shops. I still love Etsy. I still love jewelry. But one of the other things I've really, really loved even more is now sharing everything that I've learned over the past 12 years with other Etsy sellers. So I'm really grateful for the Etsy U program. I'm not paid by Etsy. I'm not an Etsy employee. We've just partnered together. I volunteer my time to just help other Etsy sellers share some of my knowledge. And so that's what I'll be doing with you today, especially when thinking about product photography. So if you heard the drama at the beginning, I can't get my screen share to work, which is really unfortunate. So you're just going to be looking at me, but also unfortunate. I will try to occasionally, I'm going to try to like click back in here and see if I can see the chats. But by and large, I'll just be talking to you today. And so if you have questions or something, please feel free to put those in the chat. I will periodically be trying to check those as I'm kind of like going through everything. But even what might work even better is at the end, and I will try to be really cognizant of your time and get through this meat and potatoes for you, but I will be able to do live Q&As with you and answer any questions you have. I know I talk really fast sometimes. I know I talk with my hands, but that's, hopefully you guys can still, like I said, you like the style enough, you can stick around, and mostly you find this beneficial, especially with the holidays coming up. We can really get your shops in tip-top shape. All right, so let's see. We want to start here with just an introduction to photography and why it's so important. So what influences our online behavior? And this is something that I just think about for myself. So like kind of almost like close your eyes a minute and try to think back to your last online purchase. Like, do you remember what it was? Doing this for me. Okay, I kind of remember what it was. Now, what were some of those things that you did to make that purchase? Okay, what were those pieces? Did you start in a search bar? Maybe it was referred by a friend. You kind of knew what you were wanting. Maybe you did a Google search. Maybe you went straight to Etsy search, or maybe even like, the dreaded A word, like you went to Amazon, whatever it is, like there was some way you were looking to purchase that item. So now think back to what you were doing online in your online shopping and how important those product photos were and what made you go from thinking you might want something to clicking the buy button. And so that's what we're talking about today, why product photography is so important, okay? With the importance of product photography, I want you to keep in mind a couple things. First of all, the purpose of the photography is to make a solid first impression on your buyer. So when a buyer searches for an item, your main photo is what grabs their attention and entices them to click on the listing. Like without that main photo, again, especially if you're using like a search engine like Etsy, you're on a marketplace, you type something into that bar and you're like scrolling through all of those items. That first initial photo is what literally goes from people thinking to buying. And if we don't get that main photo right, it's almost like we're dead in the water right there. No one will be able to click in the listing, see our amazing videos, see the customer reviews for it, see all of the beautiful options. So we want to make sure that we get that right. Now, this is one that I honestly, you might be having this question, well, how do I pick my main image? And this is one that I still have a hard time with. So when deciding on your main listing photo, make sure it looks great viewed on both desktop and mobile, and how the person scrolling through the listings would be able to view that, and that would help convey the quality, the purpose, why they would need that item, and what you can do to kind of make that image pop. So with purchases and influences, Etsy says they've done a lot of studies, and they say the quality of images is actually like 90% of what makes people purchase an item. Anyone have any guesses? The second one is the cost, which is still important. Third, cost of the item. Third is shipping cost, and then the fourth is reviews. So all still really important, but quality of images is like number one. So what I would like you to do, whether maybe you can even do it now since we're doing this YouTube live, you could just open up a new tab, maybe go to Etsy, and I want you to, let's do this. Let's do a little exercise here. I'm just gonna pop through here, make sure everyone is still seeing me okay. Okay, We all look good there. So what I want us to do, let's go to Etsy.com, pull up Etsy, and we are just going to search for something. Let's all kind of search for the same thing right now. Let's go ahead, this one randomly just popped in my mind. Go ahead and type in baby blanket, all right? So let's say I have my sister-in-law is getting ready to have her second baby, really excited, it's gonna be a baby boy. So I type in, I decided I want to get her a baby blanket. Okay, so again, because Etsy does their, kind of like those customized search results, which is really cool. It doesn't mean we're all going to have the exact same images, but a lot of times I'm guessing you probably can see some similarities. So the ones I'm seeing here on my screen, it looks like there's some cute, really soft baby blankets here. They've got some names on them, which would be so adorable if my sister knows the baby's names. I'm like already loving this. So I'm going through and I'm looking through these photos. I see here for me, this one's probably because I searched for this before, but I see a puzzle with someone's name because I bought one of those for my daughter last Christmas. So that's probably why that's popping up there. I don't know. I would be curious just to see, is anyone else seeing kind of like the baby name blankets? And then I see like this baby name puzzle. So anyways, let's keep scrolling. The thing I want us to look at when we're looking at these product photos is like, what is it about these pictures that we're kind of being like drawn in? So I see this one of them here is like kind of falling out of this really beautiful wicker basket, and they've got the one side, they've got the two sides of the fabric so you can see the texture on one side, and then the other side has this really cute kind of like hedgehog print. All right, some of those have like babies in them, so I can see, like I can start to picture my daughter's, not my daughter, my daughter's not old enough to have babies yet. My sister's baby that she is not actually having, but if she were, I'm like, I could imagine like, oh, like I see this cute baby. I can imagine how much my sister would love that and how cute that would be with her baby. So I'm still kind of just like scrolling through here, looking at some of these different options. There's some cute little almost lovey blankie kind of things. I really like this. The name on the blankets is super cute, but look at these photos. Like, what are we seeing here? Go ahead and type in the chat, because I know I'm not able to look at those as well. You guys will be able to see each other's chats, but what are some of the things? Is there anything that you're seeing about these photos that is resonating with you, that's kind of like jumping out to you, is like, oh, I really like, maybe it's this or that of this photo. I like, the lighting. Look at some of the lighting in these photos. Like if I just do kind of like a high level glance, it seems like a lot of these photos are light, Some of them have different, there's one here and it has like a big girl in the photo with a little baby. Like, what a genius idea, because now I'm like, oh my gosh, now I want to buy one for her older sister. I didn't even think of that, but as a buyer from this one photo, this seller, just so you know, the Sugar House Swaddles is the one I'm looking at, but because she put a little, like a sister, she's kind of reaching down and touching the baby next to her, and they both have those blankets. I've now learned as a buyer, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to buy 2 blankets now, just because of the really interesting way that that person's done that photo. So I know with kind of like these trainings and things that I do, we all have so many different shops and things that we're selling. I'm going to go ahead now, because again, I know there's a delay. I'm going to pop in the chat just a little bit, see how things are going there. But if you want to also just in the chat, let me know what kind of shop you have, if you feel comfortable doing that. I think that's fun to just kind of, so we can all see where everyone is coming from and what lens people are looking at product photography. So for me, obviously it's jewelry. I'm like, okay, how do I photograph jewelry? A lot of these principles apply to everything, but it's still kind of good to keep our minds humming around like our particular industry. Like, how could I apply this to baby blankets or soap or what have you? So I'm gonna give myself a moment to breathe. And then also, like I said, I'm gonna pop over into the chat here and just see what we have going on there with you guys. All right, the floor. So these, again, we're just going back over. You saw some of the stuff that's standing out to people, the cleaner images, very close up. Yes, 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 you guys are awesome. Many of the babies are swaddled in the blanket, helping those visualize the babies. You're not seeing the whole blanket. Yeah, just like a piece of it is super, like, draws you in sometime. Hanging off the crib, love it. The one in the basket, the one with both kids, multiple, yes, exactly. You can show them folded up. Custom ornaments. Okay, now I'm getting to the part where you guys are talking about some of the things you do here. So we've got cross stitch patterns, musical instruments. I have a planner shop, jewelry without glare, party decor, planner sticker shop, knitted crochet items, knit hats, baby booties. baby hats, knitting items is so cool. Those who know how to knit and sell those items, like I just think that's one of the coolest things on Etsy. It takes such skill and talent and patience. Boho style shop, love boho everything. Ooh, boho home decor. Have to go check out your shop. I love all, I don't know if you can see, no, you can't, wait, you can see me, you just can't see my screen. That's right, you can see I have some boho stuff here in my office. All right, why am I only seeing her and not, yes, Rebecca, you are only seeing me because technology hates me and I couldn't figure out how to get OBS to show my screen sharing. So everything that I'm talking to you about, unfortunately for this one, is just gonna have to be you absorbing the information and learning from that. I'm so sorry that I couldn't get my slides to work. So hopefully you can still learn a lot from today's product information. All right, so now I'm coming back here and we're gonna move on. So now you kind of have an idea of why that's important, what we're looking for. We're gonna talk specifically about some of those things you mentioned, just whether you're an established seller like me, whether you're brand new to Etsy, you just opened your shop, maybe you're still thinking about opening a shop. I feel like these are all really good principles to be reminded of and kind of like push down further into our brain and be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. There's, like I said, I've been on here for 12 years and there were still things that I was like, oh yeah, I'm not doing super great at that. I could do better at that. So what does a good photo look like? Here's some of the points. Like, you want to think about how big it is. What is it made of? How is it packaged? Is this seller trustworthy? Those are some of the pieces of information that's going to be conveyed through something as simple as a photo. Let's see. So to recap, some of the best product photos are going to grab the attention of shoppers and compel them to click and to buy, display the product clearly on desktop and mobile, communicate the importance about size, color, material with whatever you're selling. What is the feeling that I want people to feel? Is it excitement? Is it peaceful? Is it love? Is it gratitude? Is it sexiness? Is it, is it manliness? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of all the different types of vibes that you can convey in your photos, and hopefully we can go over some ways that you can do that. So one of those ways is just beyond product photos, something you want to, again, just mentally kind of like checklist is, are you using product photos not just in your product photography, which is a lot of what we're talking about today, but there's also other areas in your Etsy shop that you can actually use those same type of photos to get that branding and get that message even further. So I'm just going to give you guys 4 examples really quick. Is one, your shop banner. And again, I wish I could pull up like my screen to show you so you could kind of see. But if you go to Etsy, if you look at like some of those items on those top pages, if you go into those shops, you can see a lot of them have shop banners that convey that vibe. The second place you want to remember is your shop icon. So the little round piece in your Etsy shop, that can go a long way with just, it's small and simple, but it can really pack a powerful punch with maybe you have like a really special icon or logo or colors. It just kind of reiterates that branding and message in like a small subliminal way. So don't overlook your shop icon. Your personal avatar, this one, so people aren't confused, is a little different than your shop icon. Sometimes people can get them confused because they are kind of around the same size and shape, but your personal avatar is the one, like if you go to my shop or anyone's shop, you'll see, not anyone, some people just have a picture of their product or whatever, which is a personal preference. For me, I prefer to have an actual picture of myself as that personal avatar, because Etsy is such a personal shopping experience. Etsy is not the only marketplace out there, so people can go to other marketplaces, but if they are shopping on Etsy, a lot of the time there's a reason, and sometimes that reason revolves around wanting to connect with local, small, handcrafted, curated products. And so they want to see you, they want to get to know you. And so the same thing, the fourth one that I just want to remind you about is your about section. So when you go into Etsy, there's a section where you can post photos about your shop. Don't overlook that section. Whenever I do kind of like one-on-one coaching with Etsy shops sometimes, and this is one, and it sometimes even surprises me for like shops that have been around for a long time. Maybe some people like honestly don't even know it's there. They're like, oh, I thought I did that, but it's not there pulling up on their shop. You have a section where you can list like 4 different photos. You can even include a video about you, about your process, about why you're doing this, and you can have like a little biography that talks about that, and those photos can convey that to the people that are coming to your shop. So again, besides just product photo, you want to make sure you're utilizing all of those areas that Etsy kind of gives you to convey the message of your shop and your brand. So again, I'm just going to pause really quick just to pop back over here in the chat. Things and publishes on the window. In sources, click the plus, then window. In the sources, I'm going to try this really quick just to see if I can get it to work. In sources, click the plus, okay, and the drop down I'm trying to see if I can share my screen because I know that would be more helpful. So give me just a minute here. Make sure Canva, you don't make it. Let's do display capture, okay. Try this. Display device not connected. Yeah, I don't know why. Display capture, create new. Wait, it worked. Okay. Oh, I might be able to share my screen. Hold on, it's working. All right, now I gotta remember how to do this. So we're gonna put, oh gosh, I gotta minimize this. Wait. Oh, shoot. Sorry to do this during the live. I don't wanna waste people's times, but we're so close. All right, so I kind of want you guys to be able to see, how do I zoom out? It's capturing, it worked. I know, guys, you're being so patient, but how now it's like too big. I think that's too big. How do I get it smaller? Let's see. Come on, we're so close. How do I zoom it out? I'm looking to see if I can see like a zoom button. Way to go, Baked Booty. Yes, thank you, whoever posted that. No, don't remove anything, but I'm trying to get this smaller so people can see. Here, what if we do this? Okay, we're gonna go with this and just see if this works. I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna put up my MacBook. I think if that goes. Okay, you guys might, oh, whoops, what happened? Display capture, no, display, oh no, I wrecked it. Ah, what did I do? Wait, display capture. Display capture, great info, grab the top left corner and resize. Yes, that's what I've been trying to do. Oh gosh. All right, shoot. We were so close. I was so close and then I wrecked it. Here, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna remove this. Yes, and then it's so big. Why is it so big? Oh, okay, this is shrinking down. Oh, I think I maybe almost have it. Okay, I'm shrinking. You guys are seeing my screen. And I think now if I just move this down, I think we have it. Okay, can you see me? And now I'm gonna pull back up this YouTube and see, because I can't see your chat anymore. Because I closed that out. Can you see? I'm gonna go share the slide now. How do I do this? Freak, I just did this. Present. Haha. Present. Okay. Oh, I really hope. Give me just one more second and then we can get on with the good stuff. But I'm gonna pull back open my YouTube video and see if I can see back in the chat here. Yes, fabulous, looking good. Okay, guys, oh my goodness, thank you. That was you guys are champs. Let's really get to this good stuff now. All right, shoot, I feel like I skipped. Hold on. I want to make sure that okay, I think this is where we're at. We're gonna talk about listing videos. So go back here and we're going to share this, share. I just did this, what? Download, no. Share, come on. Present, present. Okay, I promise, no more technical glitches. We are moving forward. All right, now we are going to talk about, wait, yes, you got it. Yay, nice. Okay, it looks like you're with me. Thank you for your patience, everyone, sincerely, from human to human. I appreciate it. All right, listing videos allow you to showcase your products in ways that aren't possible with static photographs. From preempting common questions to highlighting usability and showcasing creative detail that will stick in shoppers' minds as they browse, listing videos will help you bring your products to life and give buyers even more confidence when they decide to purchase an item. Okay, now really quick before we move on, I want to know, do you have listing videos in your item? So I am curious, no shade, no nothing, either way, do you have videos in all of your items, some of your items, or none of your items? Because here we go, I will be honest, I'm pretty sure we have listing videos for every item in my jewelry shop, but we do not, if you go to my jewelry supply shop, I have like almost like 500 listings. And again, I was doing this long before Etsy allowed listing videos, so I have not made the time to go back and add those videos. So I'm curious here. Oh, it says some, none, some, only for the high price stunning ones. No videos, yes, yes, some, no videos, some, not at all. I don't have any listing videos, none. Okay, so I do see some people, while some of you do have these listing videos, not everyone and not on all of your items. So again, I'm in that same boat. I'm guilty of this as well. So maybe let's learn kind of the importance of video, some strategies around it, and then we can be reminded about why that's important, and maybe that'll make it on your Etsy to-do list to like, hey, this really does make a difference in people purchasing items or not. All right, so the thing you want to keep in mind is setting the stage is the first thing. You want to use an uncluttered backdrop, prep your phone, make sure it's charged, you have enough storage space. That can be really frustrating. Been there, done that, especially with my YouTube videos. Light your scene, choose a spot with not like a lot of natural light. We're definitely going to be going over lighting because this is a huge one. It's actually one I think that is surprisingly, I don't want to say easy, but easier to fix than some people will think. And for this one, I think I'm going to take my laptop and I'll show you guys kind of like my setup and some ideas you can do, especially like on your phone and using apps and stuff that can really make a huge difference in your product photography. Okay, you want to make sure your camera's stabilized. This one, I will be honest, again, someone that does this has been doing this a lot. We do not use a tripod when we are photographing our items. We do use a tripod every single time for the videos because the videos are going to be 15 seconds long. They don't have any audio, but we have just found, even though we try to, again, you try to like just save time, go fast, especially if you're like me and you're trying to backtrack a lot of those videos, use a tripod because it does affect the video. Like when people are watching it, no matter how kind of like still you try to make it, a tripod really is going to make a big difference in those videos. So you want to still, same thing, frame up the shot, make sure you don't have too much going on back there, and then add those finishing touches at the beginning and end if you need to. You know, like we like to, for items, we're flipping them over, we're showing all angles. I think sometimes like people, I've seen like programs and stuff where they're like, oh, hey, we'll make your Etsy videos and you just send us your photos and we put them into a video. To me, that kind of, I mean, it's nice. I guess it's better than not having a video, but I think that misses the point of the videos and why Etsy went through so much time, energy, money to add this feature for us. Videos, like people want to see like the actual real life item. And I know that's what you're getting in a photo, but there's just something different when they see. So I'm trying to think of like every single, I mean, I've worked with people again who have done like stationery or anything. I'm like, I always tell people, I'm like, I don't care what you're selling, a video is going to help. So even if it's like, even if you do like digital downloads, like have like print show like what is possible. Maybe you can even do like a text box saying like, hey, you can print this out in like 5 minutes from home, and you show them printing the item out of like a home computer and hold it up and how beautiful it is, and then how it takes them like 2 seconds to put it in a frame and boom, there's your finished product. Like that video, and let's say the digital downloads, you know, $10, someone's like, oh my gosh, I could visually see how easy that is to print out, put in a frame, and how stunning it looks after it's printed. So just anything like that that you can do to convey that. And that's why, like for us, for our jewelry, for example, when we show the items, sometimes we'll show it being like worn and what that looks like. Sometimes we'll just hold the items up so we can kind of like flip them over front, back. If you have something that's textured, you want to just run your hands over it so people can kind of imagine like, how soft is this actually? How hard is it? How strong is it? All of those different things really make a difference in your video. So if anything, that's what I'd like to encourage us all to do, is maybe recommit ourselves to put those videos in. If you want to get really fancy, and again, this is talking to myself, but there's some videos I'm like, oh, I really should add just like a little text to illustrate that point. Like some of our items, like let's say you do like all natural, you know, like you could have in the video like says, you know, this is like we use all natural ingredients, no harsh chemicals, which is really different than a lot of your competitors or something along those lines. All right, about the cards and have them. Yes, thank you guys for those comments about videos. Place the card in a flower bouquet and the video be moving and opening the card. Yes, thank you so much for those suggestions of just like, don't be afraid to like be creative. Like sometimes I feel like I stop myself because I'm like, oh, I've never seen anyone else doing that or what. Like really just let your like, take that time. I'm kind of like a woo-woo person, a little bit, not completely sometimes, into kind of like tapping into that creative space in the universe. And that's the reason I love helping Etsy sellers and selling on Etsy, is because there is something, the reason you're here today is because there is something inside of you that needs to be put into the world. You felt that call. Otherwise you would not be spending an hour of your time patiently waiting for some girl you've never met to get through all of her technology issues so she can hopefully help you realize some of those things you can do to get that out into the world. And so apply that same creativity. The reason you're here and the reason you want to sell on Etsy specifically, use that same creativity, like tap in and say, okay, what with this item, if I'm a buyer, like what would I like to see? What would I like to visualize? What would really resonate with the people, my target audience? All right, so we'll move on here. 3 types of videos that shoppers love: videos that address common questions, show your product in use, we kind of talked about, and that highlight the creative details. So here's a really beautiful example of a camera, but I like that zoomed in, and that's something that you can kind of do in a video, is show those little details a little more. You can go from far away and zoom in kind of like a little more up close. Again, some cameras will let you do that a little better than others, but by and large, it's a great option. And here, this was a video. I wish I got my slides to work. Etsy gave me some really cool videos of product photos. Unfortunately, those are not playing in my slideshow, but that's okay. All right, photography equipment. Breathe. I always have to tell myself, breathe when I'm doing these. 4 types of camera options. You have a smartphone, compact, point and shoot, DSLR, or mirrorless system cameras. There's pros and cons to each, and I'm gonna be honest, again, Etsy has been awesome. They gave me some of these slides to use. I am not 100% sure what a mirrorless system camera is. So I wanted to list these because I know not everyone, that's something when I'm talking to other Etsy sellers, just because I do this in my Etsy shop, it doesn't mean it's for everyone. I do love to share what does work for me if people are curious or can find that inspirational. So as we go through these here, the main one that I use is my smartphone. And the same thing, I actually have now, one of my teammates helps a lot with the product photos, and she does the same thing. She uses her iPhone. She doesn't even have an iPhone. She has an Android, still the same thing. So a lot of those product photos that you will see are done by Tessa's Android phone. So she takes the pictures on her phone, she edits them, and she uploads them. That's been my personal preference for photos, but I know a lot of people resonate with like the DSLR. I've never been great at figuring out like fancy camera things, so that is encouragement to you guys. And I'll just tell you, if you want to go check them out, my shops are Spotlight Jewelry, and that's the jewelry shop, all one word, and then Moonlight Supplies is the other one, just so if you're curious about kind of like what some of my photography looks like. All right, so here are examples of those cameras. Lenses, tripods, cameras, remotes, lighting tools, softbox lights, light boxes, eternal flashes, flash diffusers. I'm going to just pause here for a minute because, again, that's what I use is an iPhone, but I just want to see if anyone else has any really positive experience. Like, do you use a DSLR? Maybe you use that. I don't know how to go back in my slides. Oh, wait, I think that is back. Maybe you use this one, the mirrorless systems camera. Go ahead and put in the chat what kind of camera equipment you're using right now with your Etsy shop that's working really well. Again, I'm kind of under the impression that most of us are using like phones at this point, but it'll be really interesting to see. Thank you. You're so enthusiastic in making this interesting. Thank you. Hopefully I'll have time to go through and read more of these comments. I'll just be honest, guys. I am new at this. I know I'm not perfect at it, but the most important thing is if this can help you in your Etsy shop, make more money, have a more enjoyable holiday season. All right, iPhone 11, iPhone. I use a DSL with a studio setup most of the time. Ooh, Tom Weatherhead, I'm really interested. I would love to go visit your shop and see kind of like how your photos look compared to a lot of the other people like me that are using their smartphones, Android, a Nikon, again, Earth to Sestra is using a fancy camera, it sounds like there. DSLR with small studio setup, natural light. Awesome, Annette. Okay, so it does look like a lot of people are like me and using their phones. So I will also, hopefully at the end, I'll not only be able to take your questions live and be able to focus on the chat a little more instead of the actual presentation, but I would also like to, a lot of people want to see kind of like how I have my setup. So again, especially if you've kind of gone to my shop, seen some of those photos and you're like, yeah, I like the way those are, those look. I can kind of show you how we've done that and how you can recreate that if that's something that might work for your shop. All right, lighting tools. Again, these are all different types of lighting. So while I'm going through this, go ahead too and just leave that in the comments, what kind of lighting that you use for your shop that works really well. And I'll talk about mine a little bit. So one is natural lighting. That's, again, using the sun as your light source. Softbox lights are artificial lights that diffuse a piece of, that are kind of like diffused through fabric. Light boxes and light tents, they're like a little like tent that has those lights coming in. External flashes flashing on the product, bounce cards and reflectors, and then the flash diffusers. I wonder what that sounds kind of similar to a softbox light. Diffusers disperse the light, or the bounce cards and reflectors. There's probably a difference. So I'll just tell you, so what we use is, I just switched to a light box. It has the lights built in. We used to have the big, what do they call these? The kind of like the softbox lights where the light would be diffused through that fabric. So I have been able to tell a huge difference in my photos, but the reason I like the light box a lot better is because it takes up way less space. So I'm going through here and just seeing, I think I'm only seeing partial slides. Ooh, I hope not. I tried really hard to get this to work, but I probably didn't on my OBS. Maybe I didn't capture the whole screen the way I was supposed to. I'm sorry about that. All right, natural light, a ring light, natural light. My shop is Crafts by Crafty. I'm seeing partial slides too. Shoot, I am so sorry. Hopefully you can still get the information. I don't want to mess with it because it's just a disaster when I touch technology. So I apologize that you can't see those full slides. All right, so light box. I use a window and white serving tray for a reflector. That's super cool. I like that a lot. It looks like a lot of you are using natural light, which is awesome. So the pros of natural light, obviously I'm a big fan. It looks very natural. I feel like sometimes takes less editing. My biggest con, because I've used natural light in the past, is you have to just be reliant on the weather, which again, I'm the kind of person that's like, I want to get it done. And that was kind of annoying for me sometimes to have to be like, oh, it's way too bright, or it's the wrong time of day. But natural light can be a great option otherwise. All right, so we're going to move on here. So show some examples. So this is a good one. This is something that you can do for natural light. You just get a board here and put that in front of a window and kind of like photograph your item. So this is what we used to have. Those are those box lights, and then we switched over to this option here. And if I have time at the end, I'll show you guys. I think I remembered to put some links to the backdrops that we use, this kind of style. So we do both. We use this light box, but then sometimes we like to shake it up a little and get some kind of like cool backdrops that we put inside the light box. But I really do like this natural light setup. That can be, you know, one of your greatest options. Catherine here says, when it's cloudy, I will shoot outside. Yes, cloudy, overcast days. Today is actually a really good day for something like that. Yes, you struggle with lighting. Jennifer, I still struggle with lighting, and I have been doing this for literally 12 years, so you are not alone. Hopefully, again, this is something, I posted the link. I got this on Amazon. So I will tell you here, if you use a light box like this, the pros is it takes a lot less space. It's very portable if that's something that can help you out in your business and what you're doing. The other pro is it really does give you a nice even light, so there's less editing. Shadows is like the biggest thing, again, especially for jewelry. But if you're not using, if you don't get the lighting right on a natural day where, like you said, it's a little overcast, I would get these really harsh shadows on my product that I just could not edit out. And a light box, this light box in particular, I think you can maybe see my mouse moving around, but the one on the right is what we have landed on, because this one in the middle was just a little too big and bulky for the space I wanted, and this one allows us to really take some nice clean shots. The only thing I will say, if you're using a light box, we're going to talk about editing softwares here in a little bit, but for me, just the one that I posted in this description of the video, it's kind of like bluish. And so we just have to adjust that. For some reason, those lights, even though it lights it up really good, it tints a little more blue. So that's just something to be mindful of if you're using artificial lights. Go into your camera settings after you take the picture. Again, I think you can do the same with like DSLR. I know for like the smartphones, they have photo editing software like right there on your phone, and you can even use some other apps that we'll talk about. But you just need to bring, I think it's, I always forget the name, if it's it's hue or tint, that's the one. And I think I almost play around with both of those just to make sure that it's not pulling too blue if you're using those artificial lights. Let's see, I use my iPhone. Thanks, Emily. Thank you guys too for helping each other out and answering questions and stuff in the chats. That's another reason I love Etsy. I think the sellers on Etsy are so cool in so many ways. All right, photo editing tools and apps. So these are just some ideas when you're doing your editing. Crop your photos to remove the excess right. I think we all know about that option, fairly easy to do on your phone. Don't go overboard with the editing, just reminders there, and avoid using those Instagram-y type filters. So let's now talk editing tools really quick. These are a lot of good examples. You know, I don't know if you're taking notes or if you just want to come back to this slide, but you have Avery, Adobe Photoshop, or Lightroom. Then you also have these specifically for smartphones, if you're like me and doing those on your smartphones, which I saw a lot of you are. You have Snapseed, Pixlr, Vesco, Lightroom Mobile, and a Color Story. So me personally, the only reason Snapseed is capitalized here is because I didn't want to forget that that was the one that I actually used the most. Again, one of my assistants who does it, that's kind of like her go-to too. So you download those apps on your phone. So the one that we like is called Snapseed, and I believe it actually, I think it's a free app, and you can maybe pay for some bonus features, which I think we are just using the free version at this point. I would have to double check on that, but you can, the things we love about it, I know she really likes how it lets you select different areas of the photo to brighten or darken. It also lets you do like specific focusing. That one is really huge for photography. Now I almost want to go back in my slides, the slides you missed that showed so many good examples of photography. But we'll just move forward here. I know time's getting short because of all of my technical difficulties. Okay, a note on image resolution. This one's tricky. I know actually a lot of sellers sometimes get really frustrated with this. My best piece of advice is if your images are too small or too large, it's always better to have two big images because you can always shrink those down. But if your camera settings are taking those photos too small, you got to go in and figure out how to fix those, because it's way harder to make a small image big than a big image small. I know for my, I use a MacBook, and they have a really easy setting where you open up the photo and it's literally like file, resize, shrink it down by 75%. And that usually solves the kind of like sizing issues on Etsy. If I try to upload a photo and it says your photo is too big, then you can just go, again, like if you're on HP or something like that, I'm not quite, it's been a long time, but I'm sure you can figure out. I know it's tricky though, it's frustrating. I get it. That's me hating technology again. All right, photography styling. This is one I'm really excited because this is a piece that I feel like I do this a lot with my hands too when I'm talking to you guys. This is a piece that has literally changed my business. Like over the years, when I started, I think my first year I made like $500. And to me that was great. And that is fantastic. Like that was $500 that I didn't have before, putting in a lot of work, starting your shop, making those sales, very exciting. But again, like as my shop has grown, it's kind of like stair-stepped. And it's like, sometimes it's like we'll have one year where we'll have like a really big year and we'll grow a lot. And then sometimes it'll kind of like come down a little or plateau or different things are happening. But I can honestly tell you, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to do this training, is this is one of the pieces that kind of has taken my shop to that next level, is what we're going to be talking about here, okay? Photo styling fundamentals, photography backdrops, props, and the 7 essential types of product photos, okay? And this is stuff that I'm still learning and mastering. I don't know why it took me so long, but I feel like I finally kind of got a grasp of my shop and how we're doing this. So again, we're going to walk through these slides for you guys, how you can apply them in your shop, and hopefully at the end, if you have time to stick around, I can show you kind of like what I'm talking about, how I've incorporated these principles and are using them currently for the stuff that I'm doing. All right, Etsy provided a beautiful, beautiful example of exactly this. So number one, and this is still one that I really, really struggle with. Maybe you can let me know if you guys feel the same, but consistency is key. It's been really hard for me, and maybe it's because I've been doing this for so long, but it's been really difficult to kind of hone in on my product photography styling. Like, okay, how are we styling these photos that they can kind of be universal throughout my shop? And if you go to my shop, I still feel like, especially the supplies are a little easier. Supplies are a little more generic. It's like, here's beads, here's charms. I don't feel like I have as much creativity there in some ways as I do with the jewelry. But if you look at my jewelry shop, I feel like it's still a little bit all over the board, and I'm kind of like working on that. But again, I've been like, some of these items have been listed for years. And so it's like over time, hopefully you'll be able to figure out your styling of your photos faster and more efficiently than I have been. All right, make sure your product is the star of the photo. Consistency is key, like we talked about. Using models if you sell clothes or accessories, this one is huge. And experiment with lighting, props, and backgrounds. Again, this stuff is huge and so important. Okay, I'm gonna push pause here. Just kind of like look at these comments for a little bit. Pros and cons, things I'll try. I can only see the top of the slides. Window capture, transform, resize, fit to screen. Window capture, transform, resize, fit to screen. I don't think I'm gonna try. I can't risk it for the biscuit. All right, you use the same backdrop on all of your photos, Catherine. I think that can actually be a really good way to keep that consistency that we talked about. I've got to the point now where we have like kind of like, I would say 2 to 4 background images that we like to rotate to, just to keep things, kind of like fresh. We have a lot of listings that we're going through, but I don't think using one is necessarily a bad idea. All right, so we're gonna go through here and talk more about these concepts. So here is some great examples. So this is the one, I don't know why this one took me so long to resonate. And again, I'm in jewelry, maybe for even dress, I really feel like it can apply for any industry. Like look at this candle here. Look at the props that they are using around their candle. Okay, so just take a minute, look at this picture, and imagine if all that was, if you took away all of those beautiful props that they have there and you just saw that beautiful white candle on a white backdrop. Not a bad photo. It would still probably be fine. People would still be willing to buy it. But what does that do when you're scrolling on Etsy and you're looking for a certain type of candle and you see an image like that? It looks like, my guess is this little black stuff in the front here is probably part of the scent or the ingredient that they use. They've got that nice little green pop in the background, even a little bit on the blue. You see how the backdrop is kind of like faded out? Like, this is the kind of stuff that I feel like really makes a difference. And product props, I didn't use props for like years and years and years. So now I have a prop drawer and it has the same type of props that we use over and over again. Like, here's this plant, here's this thing. And so it not only brings in a little more consistent vibe, but it also results in like really cool photos like this one of the candle. Okay, I even love like this example that we have here of this dress. Like, see how she's got that really fun kind of exposed piping in the background, even her expression. This is all just kind of like adding to the vibe of this dress, like we talked about at the beginning, kind of like the vibe of your shop. All right, here's some more. Let's go through. I have the biggest, sorry, I'm pausing really quick for comments here. I have the biggest issue with styling. My stuff is bright and colorful and can't figure out the styling. I am there with you. Like, I'm telling you, I really hope that we can get some inspiration by going through these photos, and again, I'll share my personal experience of how I did that with you guys, and hopefully you can kind of get past that. I don't know why product styling is so hard, and so that's why I really love this section probably the most out of everything. His baking thing, measuring spoon, sprinkles. Yes, I love the sprinkles. I know you don't see the entire picture, and I'm so sorry, but I can't figure out how to get technology to work. Hopefully you can still get the gist of it. I'll try to keep my even mouse up here so you guys maybe can see my mouse at least as I'm pointing. All right, so this one here is a beautiful shot. So again, it's got the lifestyle. So just imagine, what if they didn't have these pillows here? It's really interesting how they composited this photo, because if you think about it, if these white pillows weren't here, I feel like this table would kind of be lost on this sofa because they're kind of a similar color. But that one distinction of putting a pillow here so you can see, oh, I get it, it's coming in over the couch, it really highlights that photo. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. And again, I'm gonna go back to the back, out of the box thinking. Like, sometimes people see my shops and they look so, I don't know, maybe I'm giving myself too much credit, but you know, it seems like I have everything put together and it's all professional and I've been doing it a long time. But the reality is, like, when we're doing our photos, we are literally like duct taping stuff. We're like, okay, we're gonna like duct tape this here so this thing's hanging down here and it's not pretty and it's not, and we're like holding things at really weird angles to like get that right angle, and we're making stuff up as we go, and we're adding these random things to get like, oh, this one item needs like a white pillow. Where can I find a white pillow? I don't have one. Let's fold up this blanket. It's white. Maybe that'll work. So we're doing that kind of stuff with our photos all the time. So don't be afraid to think it has to be like, here's my props and here's my things and it's always perfect. And you know, it's like we have a joke, we're like, whatever it takes, we do whatever it takes for the photo, whether that's us lying on our back holding this really weird thing, or we're holding our breath so the earring doesn't move so we can get that shot. Like, we joke about it, but that's really how it is, because we know like those product photographies are everything. So the same thing, candle shot, beautiful. This one's called Milk and Sugar. And so point out here too, so they've got a backdrop. So this one I'm pretty sure is using natural light. It might be some artificial light coming in, but they're definitely not using a light box unless it's really big. But they've got this backdrop of fabric here. They've got the, you know, the actual food and stuff, the candles, the way that little lid is laying. So all of this stuff, be patient with yourself. It's gonna take practice. It's gonna take consistency, and it's gonna be like not being afraid to try something, not have it work, readjust. That's almost like the whole story of my business. It's like, try something, it works, move along, try a new thing, it works better, move along. In the same breath, we're trying something, it is not working, tweaking it, making it better, you know, always just trying to figure it out. It's an ever evolving process with your Etsy shop, but also a fun process that hopefully you enjoy. All right, I love this photo. Again, same thing. This is like an example of like a lifestyle shot that we've talked a lot about. Ooh, I'm glad that these ones are here. I wanted to talk about these photos because this is showing like I'm really, really big into the background being blurred. And so the app that I talked about, I'm pretty sure I'll feel really bad. I hope that's the app that does the blurring the way I think it does. But if not, find a photo app that will do what they call it sometimes like selective focus. I'm pretty sure Canva does it as well, in a kind of different way. But I really like, I think it's Snapseed, where you can select, you can tell the program, I want this part of my photo. So like with these, you can say, hey, I want this particular part right here in focus. All the rest of that I want blurred out a little more, okay? Like same thing, like this is in focus, then the rest is a little more blurred. Blurred can make photos look really professional, as long as you do it right. Like don't blur out the whole photo, because that's definitely not what we're going for. But if you can kind of have a selective focus, as they call it, on your items, that can really make a big difference. So intense, chill. Colin, I don't know, this is my only speed. I don't know how to chill. I am sorry. I know I'm not for everyone. And that is okay. All right, seasonal photography. If you sell seasonal, occasional, or occasion-specific products, you can tailor your styling according to the moment. This is also one I don't feel like we do a super great job at. I would love to hear in the comments if any of you are doing that, if you're remembering to kind of like add some seasonal elements to your stuff. Maybe if you even have like tips or suggestions, things that you've done, feel free to pop those in the comments and I'll go through and I'll read a few of those. So for example, for springtime, you might incorporate floral themes into your photos or snap a photo of your product after you gift wrap it to appeal to holiday shoppers. So I love this photo here, super cute. So I imagine this is a blanket that they sell all year long, but just for the holiday time, they've added these really pretty ornaments on the top of it, and they put a little bow around it, and they put it in, you can kind of see in the gift box with the tissue paper coming around it. So it gets those buyers thinking about Christmas time. Like, okay, I could see myself giving this as a gift, All right, let's see. You guys are sweet. Thank you. I will always keep being myself. I hope we all keep being ourselves, no matter what speed or flavor you go. All right, keep separate bins with seasonal props. Awesome. Same for holiday props as well. Yes, I do that as well too. And I will, again, at the end, I'll show you guys. It was a lot cheaper than I thought. I just went to the craft store and picked up these little kind of like seasonal things that we put in there. I have a question. Let's see. Keep separate bins with seasonal props. Alicia, do you use those? Like when you are photographing, when you're adding your seasonal stuff, how many items do you have in your shop? Do you do that for all of your items, and do you remember to take those out? Because this is something I'm thinking of doing. So a program that I use for my Etsy shop is called Asana. They have a free version that's absolutely great. It's just basically a project management tool, but it lets you plan things out. And so one of the tasks I'm thinking of adding is like a seasonal holiday prep, where we maybe take our like 10 top selling items, and for Christmas time, we add those seasonal elements. And so that would be a to-do list. Maybe we do that at the beginning of like October or something like that. Maybe that's a little early, maybe beginning of November. We add those seasonal things to those photos. We make those the main photos. And then another task later on we have is to remember to take out those photos. So in March, we don't have Christmas trees and stuff, but that's a really interesting comment. So that's something that just me and my shop have kind of been thinking about. All right. I love doing outside photos for seasons changes. Nice. And Asana. Yes, I love Asana too. Okay, so that's holiday. That's something to keep in mind. And again, maybe if I do more of these trainings or YouTube videos, I can do almost like a return and report and say, this is what we did. We added these seasonal elements. We let them go for the seasons. Here's how they performed. We took them out. I feel like this is a great strategy for Etsy sellers. We do that like a tiny bit. I'd maybe do that to like one or two of my items. But again, I think this is an area that could really make a difference in all of our shops if we're taking the time to actually do that, whatever season it is, Halloween, all of the holiday kind of like winter seasons that we have. But tend not to use them on general listings. Oh, okay, interesting. So Donna says she only uses them for seasonal items but not necessarily for regular listings. So I'm kind of like with you, Don. I don't do it a whole lot, but I do think it would be worth exploring for all of us like this holiday season. Changing banners, that's another great way to do it. We talked about implementing photos, so thank you so much for that reminder, LB. We do that as well. We change our banners for the holidays. We add some of those different elements and kind of like theming and stuff. So that's a really cool way too to give your shop that extra pop around holiday time. All right, let's move on here. We've got some examples. Again, these are like holiday examples with those little seasonal elements or the springtime, dirt and plants. Awesome, awesome. More kind of like beautiful seasonal. Here's springs and summers, and here's obviously this is a beautiful fall type photo. We're a little more here summertime. We've got the hat in the background, holidays, fireplaces, Mother's Day, beautiful. All right, photography background. So I'm not going to go ahead and read this. I'm just going to tell you my experience with backgrounds like I talked about before. You want to keep them simple, but they can add a kind of like vibe to your shop. So let's see if we have some examples here. So this is like kind of like the all white background. And I'm trying to remember here if they have more examples of some textures and stuff. Okay, so here's one here. And I'll be honest, like fabric is hard to do sometimes, like, and it's so funny because this is a jewelry shop that's doing it, but I've tried to do it with my jewelry and I haven't always loved the results. We do have some, if you look through my shop, you can see some fabric textures that we used as backdrops before, but you can see here, well, I will read them to you just because I know you can't see the whole slide. Solid colored poster board works great. We have used that one, love it. Wooden cutting board, placemats, fabric, wooden crates, marble tiles. I think we've almost used all of these. A roll of seamless paper, butcher paper, used that before. So with the backgrounds, I like what they said again, just to reiterate, just get creative with it. I also linked in this video some of the backgrounds, like I mentioned before, we buy a light box, but you don't even have to, you could still just get backgrounds like the ones I just gave you example. These ones come from Amazon that we use, but they just slide behind, like you put them on the table, make sure it's just coming up so you get that seamless shot behind it. But it's a really easy way to kind of like add a little something, and even if it's just an all white one, at least you have that clean background. I've used my marble tables from my house, I've used wooden tables at my house, I've used concrete before, literally put stuff on concrete outside and use that as a backdrop. So it really is, just have fun with it. That's why we're all here on Etsy. We're here to be creative, to be ourselves, to put our stuff out there. So apply that same thing with the backdrops and the photos and the stuff like that you guys are doing. All right, I use that. Let's see, I have something like that. It's a great backdrop, and mini orange pumpkin really pop against it. Nice. All right, would be the bottle brush trees in the back. Those would be great as well. Yes, those holiday will go back. Sorry, I didn't realize it was that far back. Well, anyway, she was talking about the photo that had the trees for Christmas. Sorry, again, the chat's a little delayed from what I'm presenting with you guys here. All right, so here's an example. We got that beautiful kind of like wooden backdrop. We've got the fabric there again. They do a really lovely job with that. Okay, using outdoor backgrounds. I know some of you said this is something that you do, and so this is a point I wanted to make because I feel like I would get really discouraged sometimes. I see photos like this and I would see them in other people's Etsy shop, and I would go out there and I would try to do them, and my modeled photos were just absolutely terrible. I've gotten pretty good at my product photography, not a lifestyle shot, meaning it's just my products. I use some fun background elements sometimes, some props, but other than that, product. If I try to photograph people, it looks terrible. I can't even come close to getting the lighting right. So here's, again, really important personal tip. Whatever product you have, I would say almost any product, it's always going to be helpful to have a lifestyle shot. Some maybe more so than others, jewelry, anything you're wearing on a human, but again, even like those little kid puzzles like we talked about, putting hands in there so people can see it, holding it, whatever it is. If you're like me and you cannot seem to get those human photos to work for whatever reason, and feel free, let me know in the chats if that's kind of like how you are, like, hey, you're right, I'm the same. I can get my product photos are decent. Anything involving a human is not happening. So I have two suggestions for you. One is if you're kind of like earlier in the gauge where, you know, you're still, and I remember these days, you're watching your pennies, every expense is kind of a big deal. You can connect with influencers on social media. Look for your hashtags in your industry. Find someone, especially I think for me, my personal go-to, I feel like it's really easy to find people on Instagram. Go to their profiles, find someone that's not has a ton of followers. That's not the goal necessarily at this stage in business for you, but find someone that has, you know, however many followers. What's more important than their followers is what their photos look like. If you can find someone that has a smaller amount of photos that is within your vibe of your shop, like, so for example, for me, I would be looking for someone on Instagram that looks like they wear the same kind of jewelry that I sell. If you're doing, again, back to the baby blankets, you're gonna look for an Instagrammer who does a lot with baby things, or maybe they have a baby, or whatever it is, but you reach out to them and you offer to send them free product in exchange for them not only posting on their website, but they will also agree to let you use those photos on your website. I remember doing this like when I first started, and it made a huge difference. I would get these professional looking photos. And yes, and again, depending on your product, if you have a very expensive product, maybe that's not as feasible. But for me, it was way cheaper to give someone a pair of my earrings and have them take the photo and send it to me than it was for me to hire a professional photographer. Now, at this stage of my business, we still take all of our own product photography, but we hire out anything, again, unless it's an older photo, and maybe I did that back in the day. But for the most part, now we hire a professional photographer who we put the jewelry on different people, and she photographs that and then sends us the photos, and I pay her for that. So either option, if you're like me and you're struggling with the outdoor backgrounds, human piece, lifestyle photos, those are kind of like two suggestions I have for you. All right, figure out how to change your white balance. Yes, that would be awesome. I am just always terrible at it. What's the best lighting option for indoors for someone just starting, trying to plan ahead for winter? Ooh, yeah, the best lighting option, I would honestly say for indoor, this is just my personal experience, I would go with the light box because it is just so much easier for me. It's like the box is set up, it has the lights built in, I put my product inside, you know, put some cool props, a backdrop, and you're good to go. Again, you have to like bring up the exposure. That's a big one. If you're doing edits on your camera, I always bring up that exposure, and then make sure your tint and hue is kind of like white balance, like you talked about. White balancing on your camera phone is important. But that would kind of be my go-to for indoor lighting if that's your situation. Cute animals in photo is cost effective as a model. Yes, that's a good idea too. And also, just speaking of models, like honestly, I have used models locally. There's a lot of people that love my jewelry, and I'm sure would love your products as well. It's not just my jewelry, but there are people that you could find locally that would love your products and be willing to model for free in some cases, just in exchange. Again, they get free jewelry and they are willing. And I've done it before. I've been a model. My assistants are still modeling for me. My friends, I just had one of my best friends model for me. I wanted like a model. You can see her on my website. She's got like the short blonde hair. She's just a personal friend. Did it as a nice favor. I gave her some jewelry as a thank you. So you can pay your models. You can use animals. Again, great thing. Make sure we are treating them nice during the photo shoot. But other than that, that's a very affordable option as well if that works for what you're selling. All right, so here we go. We got beautiful modeled shots, Christmas time, outdoor with the sun. All right, props. So this is what we're gonna talk about. This one is still something that I'm like, it's so hard. How do you find that vibe for your shop? So just some of their suggestions here is to use the props sparingly so they don't distract, which again is a hard balance, but 100% agree with, and just the importance of how they play in styling your different products and conveying the vibe of your shop. All right, so here's some examples of different props. So if you go, I'll tell you the jewelry shop again, just if you want examples. So Spotlight Jewelry is my jewelry shop, and you can go and you can see in some of those photos we're trying to do this more. We're trying to like bring in kind of like the same greenery or crystals or I'm trying to think of other stuff we're using. We've even used like soap, like specialty soap sometimes, because you can kind of stick the jewelry in it. But you can see here's books. We got some books here that goes with this product, beautifully done. If anything, I mean, I think it's so cool to just have these examples as kind of like in front of you as we're going through this, like, oh yeah, that is a good example. Like, you know, just to get those wheels turning in your own mind for your own shop. So this one here is the computer. We've got a plate, we've got some greenery there. They're just fun. And this one's interesting. This one doesn't actually have any props per se, but look at that background they're using and how pretty and fun that is with that product, especially if that's coinciding with the, you know, the color scheme and vibe of their shop. So loving this. To state pillows not included. Yes, that is good when you add them to a photo shoot. Oh, is it important? You're asking me. So I definitely think that is going to be a case-by-case basis, but you absolutely, like, if I feel like go with your gut on that one. So she's asking if you have pillows that you're using as props in the picture, do I need to specify pillows not included? If you think there's even a slight chance that someone might think those pillows are included, I would absolutely put it in, because it's not going to hurt anything other than taking someone an extra 5 seconds to read. But for me, I've never felt the need to do that with my jewelry, just because I've never in 12 years had anyone ever contact me and say, hey, I thought this plant was included with your earrings, just because it doesn't make too much logical sense. Like when I'm photographing my earrings, I've got a plant in the background, the earrings are hanging. No one has ever said, hey, where's my plant, you know? So, but that's why I'm saying, like for the pillows, for example, if you're selling a couch and there's pillows on it as a prop, I definitely think that would be a time to go ahead and disclaim that. But by and large, again, I'm just gonna say go with your gut. If you feel like someone might even have any chance of thinking that something you're including is included, I would actually consider, again, depending on the situation, to maybe not include it. Like a bad example, but just to illustrate, like if I was doing jewelry and I had like this really spectacular bracelet that I had lying around the house, it's a vintage bracelet and it was my mom's or whatever, and I was like, oh, that would be such a pretty backdrop because it's so sparkly and blingy with these earrings I'm selling. To me, I probably wouldn't want to do that, even though it might make a stunning photo, because I would not want people at all to think that that bracelet was included, especially when I'm not even selling it in my shop. What you can do is you can definitely include other items that you sell in your shop and then do that exact thing that you ask about. Just say, you know, this is sold separately. Like I do that sometimes. Like if you want, you know, I'll have one photo that shows the set. And sometimes it's even good you want to put it on that specific photo so they don't miss it in the description. But, you know, if I'm selling like a pair of earrings, I can say, and then I have a picture of the earrings with a necklace, and this cute gift box is one of those photos. I will put on that photo like necklace sold separately, and then in the description you can also link to that necklace. So I know that wasn't exactly your question, it was a great question, but kind of just keep in mind when you're adding those props or other elements. I think that was a really good reminder and shout out. Thank you, Cat. Majority of customers know that props aren't included. Yeah, if you're selling pillow covers, make it clear the pillow insert. Yes, gotcha, Arsons. Thank you guys so much again for those comments. I appreciate you guys helping each other out. All right, 7 essential types of product photos. We'll go through these really quick here. Beautiful studio shot. In a studio shot, the simple light-colored backdrop brings out the details of the wildflower wreath. What a beautiful item. Let's go buy it right now. It's beautiful. I love it. All right, lifestyle shot. Talked a lot about these. How cute is this photo, guys? Oh, so good. This lifestyle photo of children lounging on cushions from Blue House Joys helps buyers imagine how they could make their space feel extra cozy. Great example of the jewelry we're talking about. Freshy Fig illustrates the size of these vintage gold lion earrings on the model's ears. Super important. Detail shot. I love a good detail shot, especially for something like this. The Felted Skies finished piece from her needle felting shows off the item's design and texture. Absolutely beautiful. This is an important one. Group shots. And so again, back to kind of that same concept, our centella is for this particular thing, I don't know for sure this list, because you know there's some listings like you might get all of those soaps in the set, like this listing might be for a set, but sometimes I know what I do with my jewelry is I want to showcase all the different color options, and so I will take a photo of all those different color options and put that as a photo, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're getting all of those items. So that's, again, just to clarify all of any confusion my customers might have in the description. I always make sure I put quantity, and it might seem a little redundant, but I just want to make sure no one's ever confused. So in each listing, it will say quantity, and then next to that, it'll say one necklace, one pair of earrings, one ring. I mean, because I do have a few gift sets that I sell where you get like earrings, necklace, and a ring or whatever, and then I'll put that quantity, one necklace, one pair of earrings. I try to make that very evident in the photos and things, but that's just me being extra careful. I mean, I still even will sometimes have people contact me and ask about the earrings, like, hey, do I get one earring or both? Sometimes it's mostly I sell gauges. I think that's, sometimes people are a little more confused about that. But anyways, I just make it extra clear, like, hey, you get one bar of soap or whatever. But group shots are super important to just let people, they're very visually appealing, I feel like, and they give people an idea of some of the different offerings that your shop can have, which I think is super important. All right, packaging shots, also very important. I still feel like if you go to my listings, you'll see we do have packaging photos in the jewelry listings, but they are not quite as good as I would like them to be at that point. So that's still something I'm kind of working on. I'm not seeing any of the photos, just zoomed in a little of the slide. Oh, I am so sorry. I thought you guys could see the photos. It looks like I have been, for those of you that have just added, I'm so sorry, technical difficulties. This YouTube live setup is not as easy as I would like it to be. It's mostly just because I'm probably unfamiliar with it. But anyways, I'm sorry you can't see those slides and pictures better, guys. All right, process shot here. This is something that we are not doing right now that I think would be a good idea, but the process shot is where you show, hopefully maybe you can see a picture of these hands, but it's a picture of someone knitting whatever item that they're making. And so that's something, if you're woodworking or designing, whatever, you can include a picture of that process. Is really cool to do on Etsy. All right, quick reminders, you can have 10 photos. You wanna make sure you use as many of those slots as possible. And this is another good reminder too, if you offer color variations, try to make sure, if you can, that you're linking those to the actual variation. So there's a setting on Etsy where, you know, if they can choose if they want the shirt in red, blue, or green. If they select, I want this shirt in red, then the red photo pops up on the screen, the red shirt. Or if they select blue, the blue shirt pops up when they select that. So that's also a super nice touch that you can add and a good reminder. So here's an example. I won't spend, if you guys can't see these photos quite as well, we won't spend too long on them, but just some more examples. All right, photo checklist we'll go through. Schedule a time for your photo shoot. Plan out your shots. Gather your equipment. Set up your background. Light your products. Steady your camera. Take the picture, and then edit your photos. Ta-da! Here's some photography inspiration and a recap. Okay, almost finished here, and then we'll get to the Q&A. Why product photography is so important. Creating great photos is key to selling online since buyers can't pick up and handle your items. Photos outside of your listing, okay? This is point number 2. Make sure you add the photos to your banner, icon, about section, and personal avatar, like we kind of talked about earlier. Make sure you use all 10 photo slots. Style your photos thoughtfully, okay? And this is going back, keep the 7 essential shots in mind. So remember, we talked about like the lifestyle, the up close, the professional studio look, the variations, the packaging. Those are all different types of photos that you want to make sure you can include in your listing. You want to choose your photography equipment, whether that's photo editing softwares, if you use a tripod, if you're using your camera on your phone. And then less is more is kind of like the final point that we'll leave you guys with. Don't go overboard with editing, props, or backgrounds, but they are all still important. All right, now we will get out of this screen sharing and see if I can get just me back up on the screen. Give me just a second here. I lost my OBS. There we go. Oh, wait, no, I don't want that. Yes, I do. Because then I want to do this and make that bigger. That should be good. And then we'll put that back down, and then I'm gonna pop back over to my chat. Actually, I think I could leave that there. What are you seeing? Let's see, I love to Etsy add the feature. Okay. You're talking about how important photos are, and I agree, but not helpful if you can't see examples. Will info be clearly available at a later date? Yes, so I will try. Maybe what I'll go ahead and do is I'll try to remake this video on my YouTube channel, because I can do that a lot easier than I can trying to do this live stuff on YouTube. It's just I'm not as familiar with. So for those of you that were frustrated with the technology as I was, I'll try to remake this video and maybe go through it again and have the slides so they're actually working for you guys, because I definitely want you to be able to have this information, see this information, and be able to reference back to it. So we'll go ahead now and do some questions and answers. All right. I will give you guys a minute and just let me know in the chats if you, before we do that though, I'm gonna jump over and then that might spawn some more questions. So while you're thinking about your questions, I said I wanted to show you just kind of like the photography setup I have, and I won't be able to do this, see the chat while I'm doing this. But just so you can kind of see what we have going on. So this is what a light box, the light box that I have referenced in the video. It's just one I got on Amazon. There's a lot of different options. I went through it for a while. This is the one I finally landed on because it looked the most compact, transportable. It had the sides and stuff that looked good. So I'm gonna flip it on for you here so you can kind of see. And it looks like we just have some props there. Get that a little straighter. Okay, so you can see how that looks. The lights just come down, and so then we photograph right there. We crop it, we bring up that exposure. You can see this particular background is just a white one. I can kind of show you, like, see, these are, again, just examples of other backgrounds. Like this is a dark one. Here's a lighter one. It kind of has that marble look to it. But the other thing I wanted to show you, it's a little bit messy, but hopefully you can see here, these are just some examples of the props that we use. So we've got like the plant there, we've got some soap, some golden things. We have those little gemstones, we've got some wood pieces. So that's what over time, we've kind of tried to just narrow down on our brand and our coloring and what we're trying to convey in those photos. So if you can look around at other people getting ideas, inspiration, maybe you have like a particular flower or color or something like that you want to use. But I feel like once we did that, once we finally found a couple different props that worked, and you can see we even, like in my office, I have a bunch of stuff like this just sitting around, and we'll just pull all of that stuff and use that in our photos if we want to. But just be patient, go to a craft store, look at pottery, floral stuff. And again, even just get ideas like sometimes from other sellers and other photos, like, you know, can we do crystals? I get kind of stuck in the jewelry space because that's where I live. But really, you guys, there's a whole slew of stuff that you can do. All right, let's see. I've been toying with the idea of a light box. So me too, Catherine. I didn't have an actual light box. I had for years and years and years and years, forever. I just had like a tent, and it had the big box lights that had the fabric, the light, like, I forget the word for it now, but it diffused the light. And I didn't even know that they had light boxes until one of the people I was kind of like coaching and working with asked me what kind of photo stuff I used. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll just get online and send you the link. And you know, this is what we use. And I could not find, I went to Amazon or, you know, maybe a couple different places, but I could not find the stuff that I was using. It's almost like they don't make it anymore. And then I found on Amazon that they had these fancy light boxes that came with the lights inside the box. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so much better. So that's when I finally took the plunge and got it. And it takes up a lot less space on my table. We've been really happy with it. And again, if you want to take a look at the items in my shop just to kind of see an example of how we bring up that exposure, make them look a little brighter, you're welcome to do that. I have a tripod, but have such a hard time setting it up to take decent pictures and videos. I do too. I really hate tripods. Have you tried to not use a tripod. I don't want to give you like bad advice. We always do it for the videos, like I mentioned before, but I feel like I can get so much better angles. Like we're in there and we're like zooming in. And if I am not on a tripod, I feel like I'm a little more limited. And so for the photos, I mean, you only just have to be steady for like just that 1 second when you take it. Again, at least from my smart device that I use to do that. So I don't know, Catherine, if you want to like think about just maybe not using a tripod when you're doing your product photo stuff, feel free. Let me know your thoughts on that. I'm going to go through and just make sure I haven't missed any questions here. Can you post the presentation slides without the live? Holly, that's a great question. Yes, I'm going to try. Oh, let's do this. For those of you that are still here, if you go to my cathutchings.com website, scroll to the bottom of the page, I think this would be the easiest way to do this. There's a place where you can put your name and email address. And I'm praying that I have my Squarespace set up right so I can find and access those emails if you do that. I'm pretty sure it should be. But if you put your name, I think it's like first and last name and your email, I'll be able to get your email, and then I can hopefully, if I can figure it out, email you those slides. If not, I'll talk to the Etsy U team is really great about that. Maybe there's a way that they could email those to all the people that came here today so you can get those slides. That's a great idea and great question, Holly. Thank you. All right, that's like my light box. Yay, I've been toying with the idea of a light box. Yep, have you learned to use real as often as possible, like real floral fruit and food? Ooh, Alicia, I haven't done real as much because again, that seems like, oh, but then I gotta make sure I always have real unless I'm keeping them alive, which I'm not great at doing with plants sometimes. Nobody judge me. I try. I do not have a green thumb, but yeah, I love real. I think especially if that goes with the vibe of your brand, that could be super cool. Thank you for the time to doing this. You've given loads of great advice. Thank you so much, Heather. You're welcome. Thank you. You guys are way more patient. You guys deserve the thanks. This is something I love to do. Sorry, that's my low blood sugar with my diabetes. I'll grab something in just a minute. We're almost finished here. All right, the photos, it goes up to 6 feet. I have a tripod, hard time setting it up. Yeah, the photos I usually will take the photos without the tripod. Okay. Catherine, if you're getting a bit of a shake, 2 to 3 second timer. Where again, Cat? Oh, cathutchings.com. So that's just my website that people go to. It's kind of where I do, like I've started doing some Etsy coaching and things like that. But if you scroll to the bottom, you can put your first name, last name, and email. And hopefully if you guys love learning more like I do, if you're just obsessed and want to know all the things Etsy, I love sharing things with people. There's some really cool trainings and stuff I have coming up for the holidays. So I'm even like partnering with some groups that do some really cool, like how to rock the holidays and get all set up and prepped for that I've used before. So just feel free if you put your email in there. I promise I'm not gonna, like I don't email a whole lot right now, but at least I have a way to get information to you about, like, if you want to, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's another great way. I'm posting videos every Thursday. If you ever have questions, you can leave them in the comments on YouTube, or you can go to my cathutchings.com website. You can get a hold of me that way. There's like a contact me section. I'm happy to help in any way or form that way. All right, a few more questions here. I guess it's more the videos. Yeah, without the videos, at least, Catherine, just to go back to the tripod thing, the videos, I feel like there's no way to get around that. At least with the videos, it's like 15 seconds, and then you can control it by like how you're moving your hand. So as long as you kind of like have the background behind, I'm saying hands, maybe yours is different. I don't know what yours, maybe yours product is bigger than to fit in your hands, in which case we might have to like brainstorm that a little bit more. But that's how we do it. We put the products in front of the camera, put it on a tripod, and we're just kind of flipping them around, touching them, sometimes hanging them, just depends. All right, where do we go to put in our emails? cathutchings.com. What ratio and pixels do you use when you upload pictures? Pixel resolution. Okay, that one you have to check with Etsy. They have, and I think it's actually in those slides, they talk about that, the pixels and resolution. So hopefully I'll talk to Etsy and they can get you guys those slides. And if not, you can also go to my website, put in your name and email, and I'll try to figure out how to get those slides to you from today as well, because I know they were not as visible. All right, I think we're gonna get ready to wrap up here, guys. Does anyone else have any final questions? If not, I will give you just a minute here, and otherwise I'll be wishing you a happy Thursday. Let's see. I don't see any coming in. Okay. Sorry, I'm not quite sure like with the leg, what the leg is on the chat. So looking. Okay, thank you, Alyssa. This has been very helpful. Okay. All right, it has been my pleasure. So thank you guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. Thank you again for your patience, like always. Please, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have questions, I am here for you. I know it can be so hard, especially when you're newer. It's still hard for me 12 years into this business. So I love Etsy. I love you guys. I really want you to get those products out into the world. So have a great one, and we will see you soon.